In the hierarchy of medical devices, few items are as ubiquitous, as essential, and yet as misunderstood as the condom. To the consumer, it is a simple, thin piece of rubber sold in a foil packet. But to the engineer and the chemist, it is a marvel of material science, a barrier that must be thinner than a human hair, yet strong enough to withstand immense stress without failing. The failure of a single unit can have life-altering consequences, which is why the manufacturing process is governed by some of the strictest quality control standards in the world, rivaling those of heart valves and surgical implants. Our journey into this high-tech world begins not in a sterile factory, but in the humid, misty rainforests of the Rubber Belt, a region spanning Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. The primary ingredient is natural rubber latex. This is the white, milky sap of the Hevea brasiliensis tree. It is often called the white blood of the forest because it functions similarly to blood in animals. It clots to heal the tree when the bark is damaged. The harvest is a manual, delicate art known as tapping. It occurs in the pre-dawn hours, often between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Why at night? Because the turgor pressure within the tree is highest when the air is cool and humidity is high, allowing the latex to flow freely. As soon as the sun rises and the temperature climbs, the latex vessels constrict and the flow stops. A skilled tapper uses a specialized knife to shave a thin ribbon of bark, no more than a few millimeters thick, off the trunk in a spiral pattern. This cut severs the lactiferous vessels, allowing the latex to bleed out into a coconut shell or plastic cup attached to the tree. The tapper must be surgical. If they cut too deep, they damage the cambium layer, permanently scarring the tree and stopping future production. If they cut too shallow, no latex flows. It is a balance of precision and speed. Raw latex is chemically unstable. It is an emulsion of rubber particles, proteins, sugars, and water. Like milk, it will spoil and coagulate within hours due to bacterial action and fermentation. To prevent this, field workers add a small amount of ammonia or sodium sulfite to the cup immediately. This raises the pH, stabilizing the liquid and keeping it in a fluid state for transport. Tanker trucks collect the latex from collection stations and rush it to the processing plant. Here, the raw material undergoes centrifugation. Giant industrial centrifuges spin the liquid at thousands of revolutions per minute. The physics is simple. Rubber is lighter than water. The spinning force separates the lighter rubber content, 60%, from the heavier water and sludge, skim. The result is centrifuged latex concentrate, a thick, creamy white liquid that is the gold standard for dipping. Upon arrival at the condom manufacturing facility, the latex is quarantined. Before a single drop enters the production line, it must pass a battery of lab tests. Chemists check the mechanical stability time, MST, the magnesium content, the volatile fatty acid number, and the total solids. If the magnesium level is too high, the latex will destabilize. If the bacterial count is too high, the structural integrity of the final product will be compromised. Only the purest batches are accepted. Now we enter the compounding room. This is the kitchen of the factory, a place of giant stainless steel mixing tanks and precise digital scales. Raw latex on its own is useless for making condoms. It is soft, sticky, and has no elasticity. To turn it into a strong, stretchy material, we must add a precise cocktail of chemicals. This recipe is the factory's secret sauce. First, stabilizers like casein, milk protein, or soap are added to prevent the rubber particles from clumping. Then comes the sulfur. Sulfur is the magic ingredient that makes vulcanization possible. We will explore this later, but essentially, sulfur is the glue that will tie the rubber molecules together. Next, accelerants like zinc oxide and dithiocarbamates are added. These catalysts speed up the reaction between the sulfur and the rubber. Without them, curing the rubber would take hours. With them, it takes minutes. Finally, antioxidants are mixed in to protect the rubber from aging, heat, and ozone degradation. Without antioxidants, a condom would become brittle and crack within months of sitting on a shelf. The mixing process is slow and gentle. Introducing air bubbles into the mix is the ultimate sin. A microscopic air bubble in the liquid will become a pinhole in the solid condom, a fatal flaw. The mixture, now called compound, is not used immediately. It is pumped into jacketed storage tanks where cool water circulates in the walls to keep the temperature stable. The compound must mature or ripen for 24 to 48 hours. During this maturation period, the chemicals begin to interact with the rubber particles on a molecular level, prepping them for the heat that is to come. The liquid thickens slightly and its properties stabilize. It is now ready for the dipping line. We leave the compounding room and enter the heart of the operation, the dipping hall. Imagine a machine the length of a football field, enclosed in a glass tunnel to maintain a positive air pressure environment, keeping out dust and insects. Inside this machine, thousands of formers move along a continuous chain conveyor. A former is the mold that gives the condom its shape. They are made of high-quality glass or sometimes ceramic. Glass is preferred because it is chemically inert, perfectly smooth, and retains heat well. The process is a continuous loop. First, the glass formers pass through a rigorous washing station. Powerful jets of hot water, alkali detergents, and rotating brushes scrub every millimeter of the glass. Any residue from a previous cycle, even a speck of dust, would cause a defect. The clean formers then pass through a drying oven and a heater. A warm former picks up latex better than a cold one. Before touching the rubber, the formers are dipped into a coagulant bath. This is a solution of calcium nitrate or calcium chloride dissolved in water. The coagulant acts like a magnet for latex. When the coagulant-coated glass enters the latex tank, the calcium ions neutralize the electrical charge on the rubber particles, causing them to deposit instantly onto the surface of the former. This ensures a uniform thickness. Now the main event. The formers dip gracefully into the tank of compounded latex. The angle of entry and exit is calculated to minimize turbulence. They emerge coated in a white, wet film. To ensure maximum safety, most premium brands use a double dip method. The formers pass through a drying oven to set the first layer and then dip a second time. This adds a second microscopic layer of rubber. Statistically, the chance of two pinholes overlapping in two different layers is nearly zero. This double layering is a critical safety redundancy. As the formers move down the line, they encounter rotating brushes made of sponge or soft nylon. These brushes roll the rubber down from the top of the mold. This creates the bead, or the rolled rim of the condom. The bead is essential. It provides the mechanical strength to hold the condom in place during use and makes it possible to unroll it. Then, the condoms enter the vulcanization tunnel. This is a long oven where the temperature gradually rises to about 120 degrees Celsius. Here, chemistry happens. The sulfur atoms we added earlier form crosslinks, or bridges, between the long chains of polyisoprene, rubber, molecules. This turns the material from a plastic state, which would deform and stay deformed, to an elastic state, which snaps back. It transforms liquid sap into a durable, stretchy solid, capable of expanding up to 800% of its original size. After the oven, the condoms enter the leaching tanks. They are bathed in hot water and agitated. This step is vital for medical safety. The water leaches out excess chemicals, residual coagulants, and most importantly, the water-soluble proteins found in natural latex. These proteins are the primary cause of latex allergies. By washing them away, the factory produces a hypoallergenic product that is safer for the human body. Finally, the condoms are stripped off the glass formers by high-pressure water jets or compressed air blasts. They tumble into collection bins, but they are sticky. To prevent them from fusing into a solid lump of rubber, they are tumbled in a slurry of powder, usually cornstarch mixed with silica or magnesium carbonate. This slurry coats the rubber, making it silky and smooth. But manufacturing is half the story. The other half is quality control. This is where the process becomes a rigorous medical examination. Every single condom, millions per day, goes through the electronic pinhole test. The condoms are loaded onto metal mandrels. These mandrels pass through a high-voltage electrical field, usually 1,000 to 2,000 volts. Rubber is an electrical insulator. It should not conduct electricity. If there is even a microscopic hole, the electricity will arc through to the metal mandrel, completing the circuit. The machine detects this spike in current and automatically rejects the defective unit. While the electronic test checks every unit, destructive testing is performed on random samples from each batch. The most dramatic is the air burst test. A condom is clamped to a machine and inflated with air like a balloon. International standards, ISO 4074, require a standard condom to hold at least 18 liters of air, about the size of a large watermelon, and withstand 1 kilopascal of pressure before bursting. Premium brands often exceed 30 or 40 liters. When it finally pops, the sound is like a gunshot. The computer records the exact volume and pressure at the failure point. If the sample bursts too early, the entire batch of thousands is quarantined and destroyed. Another sample group undergoes the water leak test. Condoms are filled with 300 milliliters of water and hung up for several minutes. Technicians inspect them visually and squeeze them to check for any moisture leaking out. They also perform tensile strength tests, stretching a ring of the condom until it snaps to measure the force required. Only after passing this gauntlet of physics and chemistry are the condoms sent to the foiling machine. Here, they are injected with a precise dose of lubricant, usually silicone oil or water-based fluid. The machine seals the condom between 2 layers of aluminum foil or plastic laminate, creating the familiar square packet. The heat seal must be perfect to prevent the lubricant from drying out or bacteria from entering. The packages are then boxed, wrapped, and shipped to pharmacies and bedrooms around the world. From the bleeding bark of a jungle tree to a life-saving device that prevents disease and controls population, the journey of the condom is a triumph of automated precision, chemical engineering, and obsessive quality control.